Debate 109, titled that way because Harmon & Co. were having a little fun with the naming conventions, is the 9th episode of the season, which is just one of this episode's in-jokes already established in the series, which is wild for a show that only has had 9 episodes. This one would go on to hold a special place in the hearts of fans of the series, not just because of the kiss or the heavy patting, which, yeah, Jeff and Annie's will they won't they is, well, that's a thing we're going to talk about later, but because this is a continuation of Community firing on all cylinders. This is Community. Sitting down to watch this episode, not too unlike the previous one, felt like Community. The awkwardness of the freshman year has passed away, and now we're upperclassmen, more confident. It's episodes like this that made me want to talk about Community in the first place. Harmon and the writers and the Russo brothers, it's a back-of-the-house team that created a storytelling mechanism capable of delivering the feels while telling you it's stupid to have those feelings. And Debate 109 articulates that concept by presenting a debate as old as human philosophy and manages to say everything and nothing at the same time. It's beautiful, and we should just get into it. In Debate 109, the Greendale study group is pulled into multiple dilemmas on campus. Jeff is recruited by the dean and Professor Whitman to join Annie on the Greendale debate team after Annie's partner gets sick.
Did Mr. Rad kill the last Glee Club?
Greendale is all set to face City College in the championship that night, arguing on the topic, is man inherently good or inherently evil? Greendale is assigned evil, while City College argues that man is good. Quick aside, leave a comment below with what your answer to is man good or evil. Should be fun and cordial conversations in the comments. Can't wait to watch that all play out. Initially, Jeff is overconfident and dismissive, keen on the same things that helped him succeed and fail as a lawyer. So he slacks on preparation despite Annie's earnest efforts, and yet, in their opening round, Annie is very stiff and robotic, while Jeff lays on the casual charm, doing crowd work and working the judges, using humor, wit, and a sing-along. This all backfires, obviously, because it's early in the episode, and the judges award him 0 points.
And may God have mercy on your soul.
Leaving Greendale trailing City College and their master debater with a solid lead. The second round of the debate is then postponed to give space for the gay basketball team, leaving Jeff and Annie another opportunity to prepare. Jeff, embarrassed from the defeat, seems ready to quit the whole stupid thing, but bears down to study after Jeremy Soulpatch Simmons taunts Annie. Jeff's protective side is triggered when Simmons mocks Annie's personal history.
Little Annie Adderall was an outcast in high school.
Which will then cut over to Britta Perry, who's struggling with her own substance abuse. She's trying to quit smoking and has grown irritable. Pierce volunteers to help Britta kick her habit with hypnotherapy. And I think that this is the 3rd time I've talked about hypnosis on this channel. Is the science still out on if hypnotherapy is effective? Okay, this is Future Chris here. After writing this script, I watched Roanoke Gaming's video on Skyline, which, what a film, by the way. And he does an interesting job of talking about the science behind hypnosis. So there's that. Check that out after this one. Back to the episode. So out of pity, Britta agrees to humor Pierce's inept hypnosis session, the first of which ends with a flawless Chevy Chase physical comedy bit, and in a second hypnosis session later in the episode, it all goes awry when Pierce realizes that Britta's been faking it.
You faked with me.
Yes.
Pierce suggests an absurd scenario, which finally makes Britta break character in some disgust. Pierce feels insulted that Britta only pretended to respect his help, and Britta admits she just didn't really want to hurt his feelings. A third storyline unfolds around Abed's student films. Troy comes in to show the group a low-budget video Abed made for the class, part of a series called the Community College Chronicles, many of which you can find here on YouTube. To everyone's shock, Abed's film depicts characters very similar to the study group, engaging in the home economic storyline that had not yet happened at the time he made this film. And the group quickly wonder if he can tell the future. As Debate 109 plays out, these predictions come true one by one.
I hurt my leg!
And
Oh, God! I think I really hurt my...
Jeff's character acts like nothing around here affects him, but things bother him more than he lets on.
that's it. Dude, we're gonna debate the living crap out of you.
The study group grows paranoid that Abed might be a psychic or somehow predicting the future. Shirley, more than anyone, becomes fearful, but is relatively calmed when Abed's next film clip shows herself being chased by a werewolf. And it even shows the Jeff and Annie characters kissing in the study room. a notion that Shirley finds ridiculous. Back in the study room, though, Jeff, having vowed to debate the crap out of the smug Simmons, pulls an all-nighter prepping arguments with Annie. During the late-night study room scene, some sexual tension does simmer, Jeff advising Annie to loosen her presentation style. When she literally lets her hair down, Jeff is struck by how attractive she is. And so we have to talk about this subplot. I'm pretty sure we'd have to. I know that it will keep coming up and more will surface later, but this is the first time it really gets framed as a for sure thing. Watching it right now as someone who just turned 40 and also someone who has a daughter who just turned 18, this all plays very differently. Like if my 18-year-old came home and told me what happened in the study room, I might have a certain emotional reaction to that. When I first watched this, I guess I wasn't really that concerned about it. Maybe because Allison Brie was in her late 20s and she doesn't really read as an 18-year-old. I'm not saying that they're doing anything wrong. I'm not saying that they're doing anything bad. But also the show seems to handle this with the same degree of self-awareness that we would expect. I'm just saying I find myself noticing it now more than I used to. But before anything happens, in this scene at least, Shirley barges in to warn them about Abed's prediction, which only heightens the awkward awareness between Jeff and Annie. Annie, flustered, attempts to refocus the debate practice by quoting Thomas Hobbes, but her passionate read and semi-low-cut top ends up distracting Jeff enough that he has to hastily excuse himself. The next day, in the debate's final round, Greendale comes up with a solid, well-coordinated case and begins to overtake City College on points. Jeff delivers a sharp rebuttal to Simmons' arguments, using, I guess, the official debate rules and structure, finally taking this event seriously. Greendale College's Simmons, desperate not to lose, resorts to a dramatic stunt. He suddenly revs his wheelchair up and launches himself across the stage at Jeff, betting that Jeff's instinct will be to catch him, and thus proving that man is fundamentally good. Jeff does catch the flying Simmons in his arms, which is probably a reflex of decency, but in that split second, Annie sees an opportunity. Moving in with improv and breaking from her robotic structure, she grabs Jeff and kisses him passionately right in front of the audience. This unexpected turn of events startles Jeff so much that he drops Simmons on the floor. Annie then turns to the judges and delivers the line,
"He was horny, so he dropped him. Man is evil."
It's ridiculous, and it works, by demonstrating that even a split second of human lust can override altruism. The judges buy it, Greendale wins, and the home crowd, which there is a giant crowd here for the community college debate team, mind you, well, they all erupt in cheers. In the aftermath of the kiss, Shirley is back to being convinced that Abed is some sort of evil witch, and to calm her superstitions, Abed speaks to another scene that he created to demonstrate that he's not predicting fate, a scene where Pierce is revealed to be a secret genius. Meanwhile, during the debate, Britta stepped out, stressed from the competition, nearly lights a cigarette, but the intrusive thought of doing it with Pierce is so repulsive that it kills that craving on the spot. Disgusted but cured, she runs out to thank Pierce, calling him a genius for accidentally at least breaking her addiction. Pierce somehow gets the validation that he's been craving in the most Pierce way possible. Now, having watched that scene play out, Abed pauses, clearly wondering if he's tapped into some sort of hidden power here, and realizes that Shirley might actually be in danger of a werewolf attack, and then he takes off to chase her. Maybe to warn her, or maybe to protect her, or maybe he is supposed to be the werewolf because he's now chasing Shirley. I don't know, but I do know that we've never actually seen a werewolf chasing Shirley. Yet.
6 seasons in a movie.
6 seasons in a movie.
There you go.
Finally, Jeff and Annie share a quiet moment outside the venue. They awkwardly congratulate each other and go in for a hug, but the air between them has definitely shifted. Unsure of how to follow up that heat-of-the-moment kiss, they land on something safer. The episode wraps with one last comedic stinger. In the study room, the actors from Abed's Community College Chronicles try to reenact the Spanish rap from an earlier episode, while Troy and Abed impatiently direct from the sidelines. It's a layered meta wink.
Just have fun with it. Take 36.
So let's talk through the central debate of this episode. Is man good or evil? This is a topic that I could talk about for hours. I won't, but I could. Most of my life, I was taught by preachers, mostly, that man is inherently evil. That was the baseline for humanity. Bible verses, story of human depravity, youth group analogies involving lemonades and a single drop of pee. If you know, you know. And yet the same framework insists that man is also somehow good enough to be worthy of God's redemption. And we're told that we can't be good on our own, only that goodness can be given to us. If we do the right things, we follow the right steps, we still don't even get there. But somehow God bridges that gap for us. It's complicated. Like, some of the most kind, decent, deeply principled people that I know don't believe any of that. And conversely, some of the worst behavior that I've seen has come from people who are absolutely convinced that they're the ones that God has already made good. So this is a very complicated argument. No matter how clean a theology somebody has, human nature doesn't seem to cooperate, which has been the through line of community so far. I'm not convinced that there is an answer to a debate like this, mostly because concepts like good and evil aren't exactly tangible or measurable. People do terrible things and people do amazing things. People are just people. All of this is explored in this episode with the formal debate topic serving as the thematic backbone. That question plays out both literally through Jeff and Annie's arguments and subtextually through other characters' actions. Jeff starts out cynically leaning into man is evil, since that's Greendale's assigned stance, but ironically behaves selfishly and lazily. It's a move that echoes his entire career arc. He once coasted through life on charm and ego and the occasional sing-along, I assume, but that only got him so far. Just like the Bar Association disbarred him, the debate judges represent a system designed to resist exactly that kind of slick, shortcut behavior. Jeff keeps betting that performance will outweigh preparation, but institutions, at least in theory, exist to reward substance over showmanship. And when they don't, that's when things fall apart. Annie, on the other hand, aims to prove that man is evil in a moral sense, quoting Thomas Hobbes about base animal urges, and yet she initially approaches the debate honorably, relying on prepared notes, logic, and pre-canned gestures. Jeff and Annie's strategies drift towards some sort of middle ground. By the end, the writers staged this whole morality play by the whole catching and dropping stunt. The resolution suggests a nuanced and comically bleak take on the prompt. Even inherently good impulses, like Jeff catching the falling man, can be overridden by baser instincts, a sexual distraction leading him to drop the man. Annie's final proclamation that man is evil is a punchline with a bite of social commentary. Community implies that selfishness is an undeniable part of human nature. But this theme resonates beyond just the debate hall / gay basketball court, like exploring the morality of an 18-year-old and late 30-something-year-old's sexual tension and relationship dynamics. But that's the last I'm going to say about that. Britta's storyline grapples with how far she's willing to indulge a lie to spare Pierce's feelings, essentially weighing kindness versus honesty. Now, she chooses good and kindness initially, albeit through deception. She only snaps a blunt truth, I was faking it, when pushed, which might be seen as a moment of evil. It was hurtful, but it was truthful. But Abed's storyline gives us a little bit of a different look at the question. Do we even have control over our own actions? Because if we don't, if we're just running scripts driven by chemical impulses and environmental inputs, then what does it mean to be good or evil? Abed's films predict the future not through magic or tapping into some spiritual force, but through observation. He watches people so closely enough to be able to guess what they're going to do before they do it, and he's usually right. So maybe we're not choosing kindness or cruelty. We're just acting out of patterns. And if that's true, then morality becomes a side effect only observed, not a decision. And in that framework, we're not heroes or villains. We're just algorithms and hoodies. And in classic community fashion, this episode handles the heavy stuff with a wink. The debate devolves into a sing-along, wheelchair stunts, and a kiss as a counterpoint finale, poking fun at the idea that a question like, is man good or evil, could even be settled in a community college gym with cheerleaders and a human being mascot. And yet, buried in the farce is something kind of real. Ironically, considering that Jeff got 0 points for his theatrics earlier, Greendale wins in this case not by presenting a watertight argument, but by capitalizing on a moment where basic human self-interest overrides noble intent, which feels very real. And maybe that's the thesis, that despite our best intentions, man isn't noble. Man is distracted, horny, and a little dumb. And yet, because this is community, these momentary sins often lead to humorous and even positive outcomes for the group. In my opinion, man is inherently neutral, that a combination of our genetics, our environmental upbringing, our culture, our beliefs, all have significant impacts on our behavior and the way that we look at the world and the way that we treat people. Yet it's on all of us to break past our lizard and monkey brains and become enlightened enough to help our fellow man one way or the other. Because man can be good, evil, smart, stupid, caring, selfish, often, all at once, and often entirely based on perspective. And that very duality is what fuels the comedy and the heart of this episode. So, man is a mess. But apparently that mess tests well, because this is the point where Community started to hit its stride with audiences and critics. Researching for this episode, it seems that many looking back note that season 1's later half, starting with this episode, marks Community's transition from a good sitcom to a great and unique sitcom. In 2020, The Independent ran an oral history for the show's 10th anniversary where Dan Harmon and the cast reflected on key moments. Allison Brie pointed to the Halloween episode, Introduction to Statistics, as where they all first gelled, but acknowledged that episodes like Debate 109 were where the audience could really start to get what Community could be. And many fans echoed that sentiment. If they show Community to a newcomer, by the time that they reach Debate 109, that person is often hooked, which I can attest to myself. As I talked about in the pilot study guide, while I was intrigued by the premise of the show and captivated by the promise of a future paintball episode, I wasn't convinced that Community was good. But most of those thoughts were put to bed by the time making my way through Debate 109. This episode proves that Community can not only come up with interesting situations for its already funny characters, but also find fresh angles within those characters themselves, all layered upon some exploration of a philosophical framework. That balance, building the people while spoofing the format, is part of what gave this show its staying power. The meta-narrative running through Debate 109 also heightens this episode. Abed's C-plot only fuels Debate 109's pacing fire. It builds tension, delivers laughs, and deepens the show's universe by implying a whole world of off-screen activities. All of it weirdly believable and weirdly on brand. Every time we cut back to Abed's storyline, it lands. It's rewarding without overstaying its welcome, and it threads the episode with just enough surreal energy to remind us that Community is always playing at a slightly higher level of self-awareness, which is on point because there's this moment earlier in the episode.
Rather than romancing your nether regions in front of the E channel.
Which was a direct wink to Joel McHale's real-life gig hosting The Soup. The episode concludes with the song Home, a track that hadn't even been officially released at that time. This early use adds a poignant touch to the episode's ending. Everything works here. Debate 109 stands as an episode where Community really found its voice, blending heartfelt ensemble comedy with metatextual experimentation. It's a fan favorite that continues to be celebrated on rewatches. It's a 9 out of 10 from me. That's just what I have to say about Debate 109. Leave your thoughts in the comments, and thanks to all the fine folks who are showing up at the bottom of the screen for supporting this channel. Be sure to come back next week when we study Season 1, Episode 10, Environmental Science.
20 pages on ass kissing, due on Monday.
This Monday?
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.